In 2019, a diabetic man named Alex Smith died. He was 26 years old. His cause of death? He couldn't afford his insulin. The same vial that costs $30 in Canada costs $300 in the United States. This isn't a story about greedy pharmacists or lazy politicians. This is a story about a system so complex, so deliberately obscure, that even healthcare professionals don't fully understand it. Today, we're following the money. Let's start with what everyone sees: the prices. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than any other developed nation. This is not a controversial statement. It's a documented fact. But it's not just expensive drugs that are the problem. Generic medications, drugs that have been around for decades, are also mysteriously costly here. Take EpiPen. In 2007, it cost about $50. By 2016, the same device cost over $600. The drug inside, epinephrine, is cheap. It costs about $1 to manufacture. So where does the other $599 go? Most people assume it's simple greed. Pharmaceutical companies raising prices because they can. But that's only part of the story. The real answer involves a shadow system most Americans have never heard of. Here's how you think drug pricing works. Pharmaceutical company makes drug. You buy drug. Simple. Here's how it actually works. Pharmaceutical company sets a list price. That price goes to something called a pharmacy benefit manager, or PBM. The PBM negotiates with the drug company. Then the PBM tells your insurance company what you'll pay. The insurance company tells the pharmacy. The pharmacy tells you. Three companies control nearly 80% of this system. CVS Caremark, Express Scripts, and OptumRx. You've probably never heard of them as PBMs. But they process over 6 billion prescriptions annually. Here's where it gets strange. PBMs make money through something called spread pricing. Let me show you how this works. Your insurance pays the PBM $100 for your medication. The PBM pays the pharmacy $60 for that same medication. The PBM keeps the $40 difference. This is legal. This is standard practice. But it gets more complex. Drug manufacturers often pay PBMs rebates to favor their drugs over competitors. In 2022, these rebates totaled over $200 billion. The PBMs pocket a portion of these rebates. Your insurance gets some. But you, the patient paying the copay, get nothing. And here's the twist: these rebates are calculated based on the list price. The higher the list price, the bigger the rebate. This creates a perverse incentive. Drug companies are encouraged to raise list prices so they can offer bigger rebates. Everyone in the chain benefits from higher prices, except the patient. Think about that for a moment. The system is designed so that higher prices benefit everyone except the person actually taking the medication. But why don't generic drugs solve this problem? They should, but there's another system working against you: patent manipulation. When a drug company develops a new medication, they get 20 years of patent protection. After that, generic manufacturers can make cheaper versions. Except, pharmaceutical companies have learned how to game this system. Take Humira, a drug for arthritis and autoimmune diseases. Its original patent expired in 2016. But AbbVie, the manufacturer, filed over 250 additional patents on the drug. These weren't for new discoveries. They were for minor tweaks. A new injection method. A different concentration. A modified delivery system. This strategy is called evergreening. By 2023, HUMIRA had generated over $200 billion in revenue, much of it during time that should have been open to generic competition. There's another tactic called pay for delay. Drug companies pay generic manufacturers to not make cheaper versions. In one case, the maker of Lipitor paid generic companies $400 million to delay generic production. This is also legal. Let me repeat that. Paying competitors to not compete is legal in the American pharmaceutical market. So why doesn't this happen in other countries? Most developed nations use one of two systems. They either negotiate drug prices nationally, or they set maximum allowable prices based on therapeutic value. In Germany, a government body determines whether a new drug offers meaningful improvement over existing treatments. If it doesn't, the price is capped. In the UK, the National Health Service negotiates prices directly with manufacturers. If companies won't agree to reasonable prices, they don't get market access. The United States operates differently. When Medicare Part D was created in 2003, Congress included a specific provision: the government cannot negotiate drug prices. This was lobbied for by pharmaceutical companies and PBMs. This means the largest purchaser of prescription drugs in America is legally prohibited from negotiating prices. It would be like Walmart being forbidden from negotiating with suppliers. It makes no economic sense, unless you understand who benefits from the current system. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 finally allows limited Medicare negotiation, for just 10 drugs initially. But the pharmaceutical industry is already challenging this in court. So why hasn't this been fixed? The pharmaceutical and health insurance industry spent over $700 million on lobbying in 2022. That's more than defense contractors. More than big tech. But the system persists for another reason: complexity. The more complicated the system, the harder it is to reform. Every player in the chain, manufacturers, PBMs, insurers, pharmacies, can point to someone else as the problem. And there's a dark truth here: for most Americans with insurance, the system works just well enough. Your copay might be $20 or $30. You don't see the $300 the system is charging behind the scenes. You don't realize that your insurance premiums are higher because of it. The people who suffer most are those without insurance, with high deductible plans, or those needing specialty medications. These people face the full force of America's drug pricing dysfunction. Let me give you some context. Insulin was discovered in 1921. The scientists who discovered it sold the patent for $1. They believed it was too important to profit from. A century later, people are dying because they can't afford it. This is not a developing world problem. This is not a problem of scarcity. This is a problem of a system designed to extract maximum revenue at every step, regardless of human cost. Alex Smith didn't die because insulin is expensive to make. He died because he fell through the cracks of a system designed to extract maximum revenue at every step. The solution isn't simple, but it starts with transparency. When systems operate in shadows, they serve those who benefit from darkness. Some states are beginning to act. California is manufacturing its own insulin. Colorado has capped insulin copays at $100 per month. These are small steps, but they're steps. At the federal level, change is slow. The pharmaceutical lobby is powerful. The system is entrenched. but public awareness is growing. The question isn't whether we can afford to fix this system. It's whether we can afford not to. Every year that passes, more Alex Smiths die. More families go bankrupt paying for medications that cost pennies to produce. More Americans ration their medications, skip doses, or simply go without. This is a choice we're making as a society, not through active decision, but through passive acceptance of a system that serves profits over people. Understanding how the system works is the first step toward changing it.